it's just figuring it out day by day. I'm still learning.
Sydney Sweeney surprised everyone in 2025. Her life changed in ways people did not expect. One moment she was focused on movies and her work, and the next, her name was everywhere for something different. People are asking what really happened and why she is in the news so much now. The story is full of questions, and the answers are not clear yet. Lake Tahoe is a beautiful place with blue water and tall trees. Celebrities like to go there when they want quiet time away from the city. During the holiday weekend, people saw Sydney and Scooter together at the lake. They looked happy, and it made others wonder if they were more than just friends. Fans started asking how they met and what this might mean for Sydney after her big life changes. Sydney Sweeney has become very famous in the last few years. She starred in shows like Euphoria and The White Lotus and is now seen as one of the best young actresses. Her career keeps getting bigger with every new role. But in her personal life, things have changed. Earlier this year, she ended her engagement to Jonathan Davino, her boyfriend of 7 years. Friends say the relationship had problems for a while, and Sydney decided it was better to focus on herself and her future. Scooter Braun has had a very different life. He is a big music manager who helped stars like Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande become famous. Some people admire him for his success, but others criticize him, especially after his fight with Taylor Swift about owning her songs. That made him a very talked-about figure. In his personal life, he also went through changes, including getting divorced in 2021. The pairing of Sydney and Scooter, then, is surprising precisely because their paths seem so different. She is a 27-year-old actress balancing Hollywood stardom with personal growth. He is a 43-year-old executive with decades of industry experience and a complicated reputation. Yet sometimes, the most unexpected connections are the ones that spark the most curiosity. Over the weekend, sources close to both confirmed that Sydney and Scooter had been quietly seeing each other since the summer. It was not the kind of whirlwind romance often associated with celebrities. Instead, it appeared to be casual. The kind of connection that comes from shared interests, late-night conversations, and a desire for companionship. In Lake Tahoe, away from the glare of Los Angeles, they found the space to spend time together without immediate judgment. Of course, once their presence together was noticed, the quietness of their relationship quickly ended.
Me if you want, but I do not care. I have never, ever been happier.
For Sydney, this moment is particularly delicate. She has been navigating a wave of attention not only for her career, but also for her personal decisions. Ending an engagement after so many years is no small step, and choosing to re-enter the dating world with someone as high profile as Scooter Braun guarantees more headlines. Yet those close to her insist that she is not rushing into anything serious. Her focus, they emphasize, remains her acting career. With multiple projects lined up, including films and production deals, she knows the importance of keeping her momentum steady. Scooter, too, is no stranger to public scrutiny. Every move he makes is analyzed in the context of his long history in music. To some, his connection with Sydney might seem like a distraction from his professional life. To others, it is simply a man seeking companionship after years of intense pressure. Those who know him suggest that he appreciates Sydney's independence and drive, qualities that mirror his own approach to success. The images of them together in Lake Tahoe did not reveal much, just two people laughing, talking, and enjoying the holiday. But in the celebrity world, small gestures often spark large stories. The public wants to know, are they simply enjoying each other's company, or is this the beginning of something deeper? The truth, as of now, appears to be somewhere in between. Celebrity romances often take on lives of their own once they become public. Sydney and Scooter's weekend has already drawn comparisons to other unlikely pairings in Hollywood where age gaps, industry differences, and unexpected chemistry create narratives that fascinate fans. Sometimes these relationships burn out quickly under the pressure of constant attention. Other times, they evolve into something lasting, proving that connection is not always predictable.
We're at a wedding, a million miles away from home.
Sydney's decision to spend her holiday weekend with Scooter also highlights something else, a shift in her personal priorities. After years of being in a long-term relationship that ended before marriage, she is now taking ownership of her story. Choosing to spend time with someone new, especially someone with a reputation as complicated as Scooter's, shows a willingness to take risks. Whether that risk is purely personal or intertwined with professional connections remains to be seen. For Scooter, being linked to Sydney represents another chapter in his very public life. While his work in the music industry continues, his personal relationships often draw just as much attention. In this case, the spotlight is not just on him, but on how his connection with Sydney could shape public perception of both. The story also points to the broader fascination with celebrity culture. Fans are not only invested in the projects their favorite stars create, but also in the lives they lead off-screen. Every vacation, dinner, or rumored date becomes a piece of a larger puzzle that audiences eagerly consume. In Sydney's case, the curiosity is amplified by her recent breakup. People want to know if this is her next chapter, and if so, what it says about her choices. What stands out in this particular moment is the balance Sydney seems determined to maintain. Despite the headlines, she has made it clear through her actions and statements that her career remains her top priority. She has been selective about projects, strategic about the roles she takes, and vocal about wanting to create opportunities not just for herself, but for others through her production company. That focus has not wavered, even as her personal life shifts. The weekend in Lake Tahoe may end up being just that, a weekend. Or it could mark the beginning of a relationship that grows quietly, away from cameras until it becomes impossible to ignore. In either case, it highlights how the personal and professional often overlap in Hollywood, creating stories that capture public attention whether the stars involved want them to or not. Sydney Sweeney and Scooter Braun's connection is not a fairy tale romance splashed with grand gestures. Instead, it is something quieter, born out of private moments and unfolding under public eyes. What it becomes remains uncertain, but for now, it has already done what celebrity stories do best: spark conversation, curiosity, and debate. As the season moves on and both return to their busy schedules, the attention may shift. Sydney will be back on set, diving into the characters that continue to define her career. Scooter will return to the business dealings that keep him at the center of the music world. But the echoes of this weekend will linger, a reminder that sometimes the simplest moments, a holiday by the lake, time spent with someone new, can create the biggest headlines. In the end, this is less about whether Sydney and Scooter become Hollywood's newest power couple, and more about what it says of the journey each is on. Sydney, carving her path with determination after closing one chapter of her personal life. Scooter, seeking stability after years of intense public battles and personal changes. Together, they form a story that is both unexpected and, perhaps, entirely human. Because at its core, beyond the glamour, beyond the speculation, this is just two people navigating connection in the midst of demanding public lives. And for audiences watching from the outside, that alone is enough to spark endless fascination.